guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids. I help you implement systems and strategies in order to overcome the chaos and cultivate simplicity in your home and homeschool. Today, I'm really excited to be sharing my Q1 goals and goal action plans with you. So let's get started. Now, this video is going up a little bit later than I had hoped. And if you watched my yearly reset video, which I posted last week, you will know that the week before Christmas, we lost power for several days. Our town had a lot of flooding and we're fine, everything's fine, but it really threw off all of my planning. So I do have all of my stuff ready for January, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to film my quarterly goals and my January goals today and hopefully get them up the first week in January. They are going to be up a little bit later than I had hoped, but it is what it is and we just have to go with it. And one of the things that I will also say in my January goals is that January 1st, there's nothing special about January 1st. You can start your goals anytime, and I've mentioned this in so many different places lately that up until very recently, in the last couple of years, the majority of my prep work for goals and reflection and everything like that was done the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and then starting the first week in January is when I would typically set up my goals for the coming year. Now I'm doing them quite a bit earlier, or trying to, just to sort of have a handle on things. It helps to do a little bit more pre-planning. But today what I'm going to do is share all of my Q1 goals / action plans with you. I am using the Powersheets this year for my goal planning. I started using Powersheets, I think in 2015 was the first year that I did full year Powersheets. Prior to that, I did this. They used to have a 6-month undated version. So I am using the Powersheets. I also am using a Leuchtturm notebook because I do a ton of writing. I know this isn't for everybody, but it is for me. I really like to flesh out ideas, use a lot of words. I process through the written word, so it helps me quite a bit. And then for my quarterly goals, I like to use these wildcard pages. These are a free printable on the Cultivate What Matters website. You don't have to purchase the Powersheets in order to access them. It just says goal action plan. It has a mini goal, starting steps, when you want to finish, mini goal, starting steps, when you want to finish, mini goal, starting steps, when you want to finish. There is a second page to this that's kind of more open-ended, I think, with a lot of blank space. I don't use that section. I just use these. I print out 2 to a page and on a PDF, and I just cut them with my paper cutter. These help me so much to break down my goals. It really helps me to figure out exactly the next steps that I need to take. So I only have 5 of my goals on here. I only have action plans for 5 of my goals. I do have 6 goals this year. The one that I do not have a goal action plan for is continue to grow my faith. I do have a few things that I'm doing, but they are more daily habit related. They will be on my tending list, but I don't really have an action plan for it. It's mainly just to continue my Bible study with this group of women, and that's going to be my focus for Q1, so I didn't need to write that down here. So what I'm going to do is I will just kind of go through these goal action plans and talk a little bit about what they mean to me. Obviously, my goals are very personal to me, so I hope that it is helpful to you. If you have questions, as always, you can leave questions in the comments or you can email me. My contact form is in the description box. Okay, so the first goal that I'm going to be talking about is my Embrace Legacy goal, and I have a few different things, and actually, there's a lot of pre-notes, I think, that I need to discuss. A lot of my goals this year are very interconnected, and they could go under multiple areas, especially my Embrace Legacy, my Pursuing Passions, my personal goals. They're all interconnected, which I think is probably a good thing, because my whole purpose with goal setting is to make forward progress in the direction that I want my life to go. So, Embrace Legacy. There are a few different things that I am hoping to work on this quarter for my Embrace Legacy goal. The first one is habits, and I would like to take a picture of the kids every day. I used to do this back in the very early days of Instagram when it was take a picture and immediately post it, and you could put a filter on it, but there was nothing exciting about that. I go back and see some of those pictures before Lucy was even born of when Emma and Jack were so little. And I miss that side of Instagram. Obviously, I'm not going to take a picture every day and post it to Instagram, but I do want to take a picture of the kids every day. I think what I'm planning on doing is just setting a timer on my watch so that it goes off at the same time every day, and I just stop the kids what they're doing and take a picture of them, or take a picture, of them doing whatever they're doing, and have that for the year. The next thing that I want to do under this habits is a 5-minute delete or save each day, and that means just going through old pictures and deleting what I don't want and saving the ones that I do, and then eventually hopefully printing them out. And then the third habit that I want to work on is journaling to my kids. If you saw my video on creating a 3-tier morning routine, the third tier of my morning routine is journaling to my kids. Each of my kids has a little notebook, and I will write to them periodically. I have been relatively successful doing that this year, but I haven't done it as much as I want to. I want it to be more of a weekly habit for all 3 kids, and the way that it was working is maybe every other week I would write to one kid, and so I just want to spend more time doing that. We'll see. I'm not working on that in January, but eventually in Q1 I would like to get better at that. The next thing is declutter, and this kind of relates also to my home goal, creating a life-giving home, and that is decluttering the homeschool bins and memory bins. I have homeschool bins for 13 years of homeschooling, well, 12 years of homeschooling. This is our 13th year, and I've kept everything. I also have tons of memory bins for myself, for my husband, and all of my kids, and so I would like to pare all of that stuff down. It is organized for the most part in the unfinished part of our basement, but I do not need to keep all of that stuff, and I haven't been in an emotional place to be able to go through those memory bins in the past few years, but I feel like this year I am ready to do that. So I really want to pare things down, and I also want to involve my kids because obviously a lot of this stuff will end up going to them. I want to not have too much stuff and overwhelm them. So those are the 2 things under my mini goal of decluttering. Then research estate planning and wills. I just need to kind of figure some of that stuff out. Like making a will, there are so many fees and lawyer things that need to be done, and I don't want to pay all of that extra money, so I want to spend a little bit of time seeing what I can do on my own before I have to get to that lawyer stage. So that is the last mini goal for Q1 for my Embracing Legacy 2024 goal. We will see how it goes. I feel kind of all over the place. Like I said, because we lost power and everything kind of got pushed off, I didn't have as much time to really sit down and evaluate the time that I would have in Q1. So even though I've written like a ton of stuff down, I don't know if I've written too much or too little. We will see. This first quarter is definitely kind of breaking me back into the Powersheets because I haven't been using the Powersheets the past year and a half. I've been just creating my own tending list in my Erin Condren Life Planner. And so I changed up my goal setting just a bit this year. They have a break it down page in the Powersheets now, which I'll talk more about in my January goals video. And to me, it was almost like I was using that as quarterly action plans instead of January goal breakdowns. So my January goals may be a little too lofty. We shall see. So the next goal that I have is create a rhythm of renewal. And so I do have a few little mini goals. The theme for my year is simplify. That's my word of the year. And so I want to kind of take inventory and understand what simplify means to me throughout the year, how I want it to guide my year as a whole. And I just want to continue evaluating 2024 through that simplify lens. Typically, I have done a lot of this in my prep work, and I have done quite a bit in my prep work. However, this year, my goal of creating a rhythm of renewal is kind of based off of this book by Rebecca Lyons. I read this when it first came out, which I think was maybe 2019. Let me just check. Yes, so this book came out in 2019 and I read it then, and I implemented quite a bit of the habits in here or rhythms, and I really enjoyed it. And then this fall, I felt the pull to simplify more, and I reread this book. And there are about 28 rhythms in here. And so my hope is to kind of go through, 1 to 2 a week at the beginning, like the first half of the year. We'll see how it goes. So going over my theme for 2024 Simplify is something that is from this book. And so I just want to kind of continue going through that. The next mini goal that I have is a tech detox. And I think I've talked about this quite a bit over the past year or so. I used to be really good about taking a Sabbath every week, and I would be completely screen-free on Sundays, and I really liked that a lot. And I fell away from that in 2020. Everything just kind of went downhill, and then I've not really gotten back to a good spot with that. I have been doing better towards the end of 2023, but I want to work on that more. And so I want to figure out what is going to work for me as far as social media breaks. Because I do have an online business, it's a little more challenging. I have to do a lot of prep work ahead of time in order to take big chunks of time off, but just protecting the boundaries that I've already set for myself with my social media usage, and understanding that it is okay if I just don't post on social media or I'm not in my Facebook group all the time. I just need to figure out what that's going to look like for me. So I need to figure that out. Also, the Sabbath rest, I want to reread the TechWise Family, which I tend to do regularly. I want to look at the guidelines that they lay out in the TechWise Family and see how I can implement some of those things. I think it's 1 day a week, 1 weekend a month, and maybe 1 week a quarter, or 1 week a year, or 2 weeks a year. I'm not sure on that last one. I would like to take more time off from social media. I'm not a big social media user, just in my own personal life. It's not something that I care too much about. Yes, there are definitely days where I will just sit and scroll on Instagram Reels when I'm bored, or if I'm just trying to waste time, or if I just need to check out for a little bit. But for the most part, I'm not posting on social media except in relation to my business. So, yeah, I'm really good at protecting my boundaries personal wise for social media, but not business wise. I think that's kind of what it is. So that does tie into business goals, which I'm not really going to get into in this video. Then the next part of the tech detox is pare down who I follow. And I actually started this already. I think I unfollowed maybe 500 people on Instagram this past couple of days I just went through. There isn't an easy way to do that on Facebook, and I wish that there were. If you know of a way to bulk unsubscribe or see the list of pages that you've liked over the years, and you can just press unfollow, that's what I'm looking for. I don't know how to do that. It's almost like you have to go into each individual page or group and then unfollow them, and that just takes so much time. It's almost not worth it. So I need to figure that out. And then the next mini goal that I have is take time for play. And I want to figure out what that looks like within my time blocks. I'm still working on my time blocks, which I've talked about several times this fall. I redid my time inventory in October, and then we got right into the holiday season. And so I haven't been able to sit down and focus on that time inventory and see where I'm spending my time and grouping things together into new time blocks. I don't think I have to adjust them too much, but I just want to get my Q1 time blocks situated as we start back into homeschool in another week, and just make sure that I have some time in my day where I'm not working and maintaining the home and homeschooling, that I have some time for my own self. So that's one of the starting steps that I have. I also want to make a list of hobbies that I want to work on, so that when I do have time, I'm not thinking, well, what should I do during this time? Because often if I do have 15 minutes and I don't have a project already going or something I can pick off of a list, that's when I will just sit and scroll on social media, or I will, sit down and read a book or look for a book for 15 minutes, which is kind of a little bit of a waste of time, that looking for the books, which is why the next thing on my list is to write out a TBR. And I have started doing that. I'm very much a mood reader, and so it's kind of hard to work off of a TBR for me, but I think that if I at least have a list of books on a TBR, then perhaps I will say, oh, this looks really good, I will read this book at this time. So those are my mini goals for my Create a Rhythm of Renewal goal. The next goal that I'm going to be talking about is my Continue to Cultivate a Life-Giving Home, and I have many things on this list, more than normal, and I think that's because the first quarter of the year, after Christmas, I'm always in a decluttering mood. I'm always in the mood to reorganize and get rid of things and clean things, especially, right after Christmas, when we get all of our Christmas stuff put away, and then kind of deep clean everything, move things around. So the first thing that I have on my list is setting up my home planner, mapping out the weekly projects, and then the other part of this mini goal is to complete the weekly projects. I kind of shift them a little bit. I'll talk about that more probably in my home planner setup video. I think I will probably sit down and talk you through how I'm using the planner, because it's a little untraditional. So those are the first three things under my home planner mini goal. The next thing that I want to do is my kids' chore calendar, which I have talked about this in the past. I will put together a calendar in Google Calendar, and it has all of the tasks that my kids are responsible for each day. We were doing really good with this right through the summer, and then once we got to the fall, it got really busy for my kids back to homeschool and their activities, that it was easier for me to just kind of pick up the slack throughout the fall, which is not what I want to do. So I want to make sure that I'm creating the chore calendar and meal prep list for my kids. They each have a color. They're really good about following the calendar when it's done, and I kind of go over it during our monthly conferences and our Monday meetings, so that they know what is expected of them throughout the week and the month. So I want to do that. And then I need to put together their daily to-dos and figure out our homeschool rhythm. We'll be starting our second semester soon. So this is something that is going to be done pretty quick in January. I have to get all of the homeschool stuff situated. And then I also plan to pull from the home planner the different task lists that are in the home planner and habit lists, so that my kids are doing a lot of those things as part of their daily chores, daily things that they just need to get done. The next mini goal that I have is declutter. And the areas that I want to work on are the kids' clothes, the kids' bedrooms, the basement. The homeschool stuff is pretty organized, but the kids' den area and our unfinished space, the unfinished space has all of the memory bins and such, and so they're kind of interconnected, which I already talked about. And then the last place I would like to declutter are books. What do I do with all of the books? We have so many books in our house, partly because we're literature-based homeschoolers, partly because I love reading. I have pared down my own personal books quite a bit, and I don't know what to do with them because there's a lot. I've thought of building one of those little free libraries at the end of my driveway. I've thought about just dropping them all off at Goodwill. I've thought about yard sales because I just have a ton of books. It would be hard for me to drop them all off at Goodwill. I think I'd have to do like one box a week for quite a while. And I also don't want to necessarily just give them to Goodwill because I treat books really, really well, and they are like new books, and I feel like I could sell them. Anyways, we'll see. The next section, mini goal, is my kitchen, and this will definitely tie into the home planner because the kitchen stuff is usually, I think, January, beginning of February, but I want to go through my pantry. I want to go and do food inventory again. I'd like to work on cooking with my kids. I've thought quite a bit about maybe doing like one recipe a week, one new recipe that they focus on, or buying a cookbook up at Barnes & Noble and having them choose one recipe that they want to do each week and just getting them more comfortable in the kitchen. Emma is very comfortable in the kitchen. Jack is okay, and Lucy loves baking, but she's still just 9, so she doesn't do a lot on her own. The last area, I feel like maybe this is too many areas for January through March, is my entryway. I'd like to get rid of the furniture, which we actually may be doing that tomorrow. I wrote this out before a lady contacted us through Facebook Marketplace about some of the furniture we're trying to sell, so hopefully some of that will get out this weekend. Let's cross our fingers. I'd like to reorganize my entry closet. I have wire shelving in there. I don't like wire shelving. It's hard to put food in there, like canned goods and things, and it's just a disaster right now. We have so many shoes in there. I have no idea how to store shoes, and it's just a lot of shoes that we have in there, and they take up a lot of space. And while we do have a nice large entryway closet, it's very hard to keep the shoes organized. I do have one of those shoe rack things, but nobody seems to put their shoes on there. They just get piled in front of it. And yeah, so I've got to figure out something with shoe storage. If you could tell me how you store shoes. We don't wear shoes in our house. I mean, I have house shoes, but I don't wear them out. And my kids have slippers and I have slippers, but the shoes, I don't feel like we can put them in our bedroom closets because they're so dirty from being outside, but I just don't have enough space. I don't know. Anyways, and then, so I'm trying to figure out if I need new shelving in that closet and shoe and coat organization in that closet. So those are all of the mini goals under my Cultivate a Life-Giving Home goal. And I will also be using the Life-Giving Home by Sally Clarkson as kind of a guide for that goal this year. I'm really excited about doing that. And the Life-Giving Home Experience, which is kind of like a workbook that goes with her Life-Giving Home book. So I'm really excited about that. The next goal that I'm going to talk about is continue to nurture my finances. So my mini goal is 2023 finances. I need to do my end of year reports. I need to do tax prep and kind of go over the year with my husband. And then 2024 finances, I need to list out big purchases and projects, figure out my spend categories and the overall budget amount for the year that I'm hoping to be in for those categories, which is part of why I need to do my 2023 reporting so that I know what did we spend in groceries this year, what did we spend in heating oil, what did we spend in electricity, just so that I have a good understanding over the 12 months about what we'll be spending in each of those categories, and then have a meeting with my husband. So that meeting with my husband will probably combine both 2023 and 2024, but I did write it under both of those. And then mini goal number 3 is to plan a vacation. So I'm going to cross my fingers on getting that all planned out, priced out, and scheduled in the first couple of months of 2024. The next goal is continue to lean into and pursue passions, and that is kind of my homeschool goal / pursuing my own passions. It's a lot of crossover, and I did talk about this quite a bit in my 2024 goals video, how all of my homeschool related goals will be under this leaning into and pursuing passions goal, but it also does include some of my own passions. And the reason is because I want to demonstrate to my kids that I am following my own passions and I make time for it, and I schedule specific time to work on action steps and reflection and all of that stuff, while also mentoring my kids and helping guide and direct them in their own passion projects. So the first mini goal I have is homeschool planning. I have 2 6-week sessions in the first quarter. Our second 6-week session will end right at the beginning of April. So I need to plan out really detailed the first 6-week session, as well as understand what the second 6-week session will be like. I need to fill their milk crates with their homeschool books, which are all behind me right now. I need to update their book lists, update transcripts. We need to work on vision boards, and I want to put together a life skills list for 2024 that we can work on, and that will kind of cross over with some of that cooking stuff that I talked about, my life giving home goal. Then the next thing is our screen free day, which one day a week we do have a screen free day, and I've been trying to figure out how we can not be doing all of the online school things that we do, or the computer-based learning that we do on that screen-free day for my older kids. It's kind of hard with high school level courses to just not do that online work that day and having to double up on a different day. But usually in the winter we have a little bit more time because we don't have a whole lot of activities going on outside of the house because the weather's so crappy. So we have a little bit more time for like book work and things like that. So it may work out well. And then I want to make sure that I have some knitting projects at the ready so that I can do those during our screen free day, as well as working on my TBR, and that's a crossover, those lists of hobby projects, as well as my TBR crossover goals, and then working on my writing practice. Again, I love writing. I have been writing online since the year 2000, and that's a lot of sharing of my life. So I want to get back into a writing practice. I've not done well with that in the past few years. I do still write pretty much every day in my membership community, talking with my members, but I'd like to get into more long form writing again, which is what I really enjoy. So 2 mini goals for that continue to lean into and pursue passions goal. Obviously, it's a lot homeschool related because that is going to be the focus going into January, is getting everybody back into a good homeschool rhythm. So those are all of my Q1 goals, and I have actually done some of those things already. I talked about it a little bit. I've kind of am taking this last week in December and lumping it in with Q1. So I am getting quite a bit done. And so my Q1 action plans may be done earlier than the end of Q1, and I may be able to add more things once I get to the end of January, or, you know, we could all get sick in January and I won't get anything more done than what I've done already. So those are my Q1 goals / action plans. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Again, if you do have questions about anything that I talked about, definitely let me know in the comments. I do feel like these action plans are kind of all over the place because at the beginning of the year, there are so many things that I want to get done. And like I said earlier, I'm not entirely sure how much time I'm going to have until we get back into our homeschool rhythm. So I am just kind of using these couple of weeks of time, the first week of January, the last week of December, just trying to get as much done as possible. And so by the end of January, I may revisit and kind of update you all on all of my Q1 goals and just say, oh, well, now I have so much more that I can do, or, oh my gosh, I planned way too much and I need to take X, Y, and Z off of my list. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to share your own Q1 goals, I would love to hear what they are. If you need help working on action plans for the coming quarter, definitely come over and check out my membership community. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.